All right, good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? My name is Chance Glenn. I have with me Margaret Bailey. We are both faculty associates here, among many other things we do here on campus. But our role in that regard, we are tasked by the Provost to be advocates and to help facilitate the transition of new faculty along their pathway as they move towards tenure. I'm the faculty associate for Alana faculty, which is an acronym that stands for African American, Latino American, Native American. And Margaret is the faculty associate for women. And these are areas that we have seen that we really need to focus on at this particular time. What we're doing today is an aspect of our duty is to start looking at, we're trying to build a mentoring plan for the Institute. There are piecemeal type of things going on around the university. We wanted to help work to develop a mentoring plan that would encompass all faculty, all pre-tenured faculty members on the campus. We're trying to build towards that.
One is one-on-one pairing where a protege and a mentor are working together. One is called group mentoring, where you have a more seasoned faculty member who's got a good scholarship record and a lot of experience at the university who may mentor a small group of faculty. So that's where group mentoring comes from. And then the third type is peer networking. And the Ufast group that's going to talk today is an excellent example of a peer network. They're a group of peers that came together to accelerate their scholarship. They're untenured faculty. Some of them have gained tenure now, but they'd like to share with you some of the experiences that they've had over the past several years working together all towards the common goal of enriching their scholarship agenda and ultimately achieving tenure and being successful here.
Thank you very much, Chance and Margaret. Again, we are Ufast. We're untenured faculty trying to work on our accelerated scholarship as a team or peer mentoring. So topics, I'm not going to read everything. We want to identify what are the motivators, why does a group get together, why does faculty peer mentoring work, how did we form it, how do we get started, how do we manage the team? You know, whenever you get a team together, how does it manage, how does it work, how do we build the momentum, and then how we've supported each other and other faculty kind of through lessons learned. So we'll share those with you so you can take that what you see fit and move forward. So first of all, what are the motivators? Why did we need a team, or why did we think we needed a team called Ufast? We wanted to enhance our scholarship and tenure expectations. Some of these were coming out of the college, some of these were coming as a group as we got together. We had similar concerns. We wanted a collegial relationship where we can feel free to walk to each other knowing our skills and strengths and interests to approach them and say, hey, Carol, I got a project I think you could help a lot on. You know, would you want to work together on and have some of those built-in relationships established? We had shared interest and a desire to collaborate. We were untenured faculty. We wanted to all work together to get our scholarship going. And we wanted to track and share opportunities. Obviously, we all have time challenges. There are so many classes available here at RIT to help you. The PI Institute, all these training classes. There's no way that I could go to them all. But with a group of 8 of us, one of us could go and bring that message back. Bring back the presentation, bring back the 5-minute synopsis of here's the training, maybe you should go yourself, or here's the training, here's the message. We'll put it on a common site that then we can share. So again, trying to maximize our efficiency, trying to address that challenge of only one, but I got to do 215% work. How did we get formed and started? First of all, we defined a mission and a vision. We wanted to work jointly and cooperatively where synergies exist. Where synergies don't exist, some of us may be working on our own idea, or our own path, or our own opportunity. There are some where there's synergies, natural, so 2 or 3 of us will be working in a subgroup, or some may stretch across a larger group. We wanted to support our department focus, support our college of what they were doing, and obviously increase our research interest and skills. Big goal, earn tenure, develop expertise. That's what we're all about. So the group was voluntary. It was to develop, support, and optimize our scholarship. We offered it to all the untenured faculty and continue to offer it as new untenured faculty come in. We added 2 members last year, and I think a member the year before. We offer it as new people come into the department. There's a pre-established group. If you want to work with us, great. We're interested in always working with all the untenured faculty within our department. Again, try and keep that focused. Why do we do it? Critical needs of untenured faculty to work towards tenure and beyond, working with a scholarship advisor. We saw at the time that, there is some benefit of having somebody that has an established scholarship record that can help, in Scott's case, give us feedback of, hey guys, I tried this, maybe a different way of doing it. Scott's our scholarship advisor on the team. He also gives us, he can share with you some good ability to interface with maybe some tenured faculty that may have some issues. Scott can help address those and speak for the group so that none of us are put in that uncomfortable position of maybe offering a question or an answer that's uncomfortable to somebody who may be on your future tenure committee. Obviously, our careers, second from the bottom, hang on our scholarship success, and it was a common cause, a common interest of what we were working on. So we had this unique drive that helped establish our group. What's our objectives? Provide members the ability to work on scholarship projects together. It's providing the ability to work. Nothing's guaranteed. I don't do something and say, okay, I'm going to put everybody's name up. No, it's the ability to work together where those synergies exist. Provide support to advance abilities. We've all learned, and as new faculty, you're learning things every week of how does the system work? How do I get this purchase order? Or how do I get this paid? Or how do I do this? And each of us have learned little pieces, and we share those. How do I get funding for students to travel? We have it documented. Who do we talk to? What form do we fill out? And we can easily share it between ourselves, again, so we don't each have to learn separately. We want to encourage those synergies and enable the support of individual scholarship plans while supporting and protecting intellectual property of the individual. It's voluntary. We encourage each other. We try to do this to facilitate efficient scholarship education and summarizing of things. We summarize a lot of things for each other. I went to this meeting, you guys couldn't, here's a summary from it. Hey, I talked to the dean about this, and here's the summary of that. So we're all pretty well up to date of what's going on, the classes, the things that you have conflicts and may not be able to make. Again, not all members are authors, are co-PIs on things. We work where those synergies exist. There's no entitlement to co-authorship. Just a comment, the group has complementary skills. Where we started and where you may start as you're thinking of your group. Think about what skills do you have? What skills do you bring or could you bring to others? Write them down. What are your interests? What are the areas that you want to advance your scholarship in? Using the Boyer model, what of each one of those areas, discovery, integration, application, or teaching, where do you see you fitting, or where does your interest? Write it down. Then you have something to bring to other people to say, here are my skills, here are my interests, and see where those synergies exist. So in the beginning, when we put this together, we documented where our skills were, where our interests are, and just in those first few meetings, we saw, oh, hey, that's great. I'm looking for somebody that has those abilities. We also work with people outside the college and can bring those in so that if somebody works with somebody in the cognitive sciences area, we can pass that on and say, hey, this is another person you may want to look for across the institute.
If I may, Rob, the interests are focused technical areas, right? For me, it's electronics manufacturing, failure analysis. The skills are transferable, statistics, design of experiments, root cause analysis. And so that's how we differentiate it. This is what I want to work on. These are some skills I have that I might be able to help with you with your work in a different area.
Thank you. That's good clarification. How we do this? Managing our meetings. We have meetings once a week. We did it on a regular basis because scholarship, it's important to us. We need to get this established. So it's every week. It's not something that, hey, we'll get together once a quarter and no. Every week we get together. It's about 30 minutes in length. Typically we review our tracking list Again, if you'd like to adopt this, we have a generic tracking list we can send you if you want to establish your own group. We look at next steps, significant training, conferences, timing, and learnings, and then have a roundtable. With our tracking list, I'll share with you, we track the opportunities coming, what's coming up in terms of grants, what are we working on in terms of conference papers, journal papers. We all know there's many opportunities. So here we've broken them down into what grants, what we're looking for, what's the due date. This is a previous one from the fall. We update it every week, and who's working on it. L is the leader, who may be from the group. S is who's supporting it. So there's some where are external grants, some are internal grants. You can see some people, there's 2 or 3 people working on it, some maybe 1. We all have a lot of opportunities, grants, internal and external, but just keeping track of what's coming, when do we need to get started, so that you don't get to the point where this is coming, it's 3 weeks from now, there's no way, and you have to let that opportunity slide. We want to make sure we're taking advantage of all the opportunities. We track what journals we're looking at, journal papers we're working towards, what's been completed, what's been submitted, and then our conference papers. When are papers submitted, when are papers due, when are abstracts due, also what's been completed, and when, which. When you're doing your end of year self-evaluation, boy is that nice. When the provost asks for, what scholarship have you done? Sort by name, done. I can just put it right out there. I know where it is, I know when it is, I know what conference it was, and I know when I did it. We also track any book chapters, any national standards, or any patents that we have or are looking at. Progress, projects to date. Okay, how has this worked? Grants, what we've done over a 2-year period, the Ufast group, we've submitted 51 grants, internal and external, for over $4 million. So over that 25 month period, we're averaging about 2 grant submissions a month. So we're pretty productive in trying to go out there and get funding. We have some success. We've talked about getting a bell for our group when we do have success. We haven't bought the bell yet. But
I think it was actually a gong. It was a little bigger than
But it's nice to celebrate. We've all had successes, and it's nice as a group we can celebrate each other's successes. We have 7 pending, 13 accepted, 31 declined, so our batting average is about 30%, which is pretty good. We've gotten some internal ones, we've gotten some recent NSF successes, so we're kind of breaking in. But we had a strategy of what are we doing? How are we working ourselves up to be able to submit that $100 million gem of a grant? We have 15 grant opportunities that we're pursuing for the year. We plan it out for the year. Now things come and things go, but we say these are the opportunities that are coming, so we can see out through the fall of next year, what are we looking at, what's the idea, who's going to be working on it, and start planning so hopefully nothing surprises us. Conference papers, we've done 17 papers submitted. We have another 16 in process. So over 24 months, we're averaging about 0.7 papers per month, which pretty good productivity in terms of establishing our backgrounds to put into future grants. Journal papers, we have 9 completed, in process, or moving through the review stage. Sharing resources. We have a group site. We use it on the My Courses site. It could be a wiki or other site, but we use My Courses. It's here. On our My Courses site, we have all the documentation in terms of what's planned, what have we learned, what are the presentations we've gotten from various conferences or seminars or RIT seminars from the PI Institute. We're the ones walking up going, can I get an electronic copy of that? And then we'll bring it, review it in our group, and put it up on our website so that we have how the DOE works and how all these things work in terms of presentations that we can share with each other. We have useful links to other sites, to searching for grants or people we're working with. What are the tenure requirements and how those evolve from the college so you can put your hands on these key documents as you go through mid-tenure and your tenure. And then what's our scholarship tracking? What are we working on? What papers have we completed together? So again, you can find them. And also we share advice from mentors. So as tenure faculty or other mentors come in, do a presentation or give us advice, put things on, we put it on our shared site. Again, so everybody has that information. We do some advice. Take advantage of internal sources of funding, a little less competitive, good for grant writing, project management experience, good way to get started. And this is what we did in our planning for funding. Get to know your support staff. Sponsored research services, corporate and foundation relations, the library staff, the Wallace Center, publication and writings support, teaching and learning, all of those are great support mechanisms. Again, it helps as a group because somebody learns something, somebody goes out, somebody does something, and can bring it back. The how do I do this is very helpful. Some action items. Identify some colleagues as potential collaborators. Find interest and bring what are your skills to help. Hold maybe a meeting to discuss collaboration or rules of engagement. How do we want to interact with each other? Again, we spent a lot of time in our first meetings doing that, so we didn't have any surprises 6 months and a year later when somebody came in with a different assumption. Develop your skills and interest matrix so you can bring that into your team. And if you're working in a bigger team, you can see those complementary skills you can bring to each other, and then what are your interests in terms of research areas. Hold regular meetings. We'd recommend weekly or at the longest every 2 weeks. Scholarship, it's important. It's important to what you do. It's important to all of us. It's important to our students and to enrich our teaching. Therefore, we've got to make it a priority. We've got to be doing this regularly so that it helps us stay on track. We discussed those projects and training and things that we're going to be working on. Make it faculty-led. Inform administration of what's going on, your department chair, your dean, your associate deans, but again, it's faculty-led, and it's untenured faculty-led. So we can decide, this is what we need to do, this is the projects, this is the grants we need to go, this is what we see as the next steps. Consider occasional informal setting. Go out to lunch as a group, do other things as a group, again, to build those relationships. Work on a few projects at once to diversify. You can see we're working on grant opportunities and internal grants and external grants and journals and conference papers and books and book chapters, again, to try and diversify our background. So I'm not going up with just a portfolio of, one sort of items. I can get exposure to many things, which again, helps us all. But don't try and overcommit. We all have our list of 1 million things we're working on. It helps tremendously as a team because you get synergies, but as a team you can also get so that you can start doing a lot. Communicate clearly and patiently. Again, we have dates, we have reminders, we follow up with each other, but we understand each other's are busy with classes and other commitments, so we try and follow up with each other patiently. Again, we're working as a team. So I need to understand when other people have challenges in their classes or are developing curriculum that maybe they can't help me in the way I need, and I need to push out a date or I need to take something more realistic. Reinvest with effective participants. Remember, we have that we can politely refuse help, but as help isn't always help. So we need to understand that as we work with each other. Operate on the abundance principle, and this is a key item. With the cultural mindset, if we all make progress, we all go up. If the tide comes in and all the boats rise, it's not something where I need to keep my ideas separate and just be a success by myself. I am much more of a success if we work as a team and can make a much better product, much better papers, much better synergy of other views. So, again, the working together, the abundance principle. Publish, generate funding, and obviously earn tenure. That's what we're all trying to get to. So we encourage you, replicate the model, use it to help yourselves and to help others, and take this on to your own area, your own department, your own college to help grow your activities. So I think we're right about on time for questions.
What do you feel is the greatest benefit of coming together? Is it the accountability aspect? Is it the shared responsibilities or shared workload? Is it the collaboration on different types of projects? What's the most significant thing about coming together like this versus doing it on your own?
The question was, what's the greatest benefit of coming together? Is it the collaboration? Is it the accountability? Is it the shared workload? And it's a great question, and I feel really bad giving it this answer, but yes is the answer, right? Because it's all those factors, the accountability. It's someone reminding you, hey, SIG proposals are due in a month. Next week, hey, SIG proposals are due in 3 weeks. Next week, hey, SIG proposals are due in 2 weeks. Somebody says, hey, how come no one told me sooner? We did, friend, but now at least you got 2 weeks, right? And so we keep each other on track. It's some positive peer pressure to, there was a time when I forget how many SIGs went up, a scholarship incentive grant in our college, it's a proposal. The Ufast group had a very disproportionate share of those proposals because we just encouraged each other. We told each other, here's how it works, here's how you do it. It's not that hard. Give this thing a couple of days, you've got a good chance of being successful. And so really, I think it's all of those, not to give you an overly simplistic answer.
The collaboration was a big thing for me because I am not in the department, although I teach in their department. So there isn't anyone in the Center for Multidisciplinary Studies who does what I do. Each one of our faculty comes from a different background. So this gave me a chance to collaborate and see what opportunities there were in areas where I was already teaching, already doing some research. And that was a much needed thing because the lone wolf researcher just doesn't get very far. So this is one way for us to collaborate together.
Larry?
I'm making some notes. I mean, simply to emphasize what Scott was saying, is simply a friendly tracking, a friendly encouraging. So is, I would say, without pressure. So it's internal between people with the common goals. It's also a sort of inspiration. We share ideas. We have complementary skills. And an expression I remember is when you are working on your own, you only tend to see the tree. When somebody comes out and look at your idea and ask these simple questions on the surface, if you reply back and say, oh, that's a good question, it helps you see the whole forest. So there are several benefits on doing this.
I might add to that, one of the reasons why it's untenured only is because in our college, at least, there are several senior professors who've never done research and who are also interested in being able to start a research agenda. But they would have a different focus for doing their research agenda than we do as untenured faculty. So by keeping it to untenured faculty only, it removed that uncomfortableness that Rob was talking about, that maybe the senior professor says, well, I want to work on this with you, but they don't have quite the drive we do to actually get this grant in, so they might let it slide. They already have tenure. For us, we couldn't let it slide. So it was closed to anyone who was tenured, except we allow Scott in, but he has to know the password, and we change it all the time.
They change it all the time. They keep me guessing. I was part of Ufast when I was untenured, and so I was about to get tenured, and I probably was one of the founding people. I certainly was one of the founding people, but probably advocated very strongly that it be untenured. And so I was getting ready to excuse myself from the group, and they said, well, yeah, but you've been doing scholarship. Because the issue is, so a lot of the untenured faculty, there's probably 3 categories. There's probably 4, but I can recognize 3, right? Never done scholarship, never going to do it. Would kind of like to do it, but don't really have any pressure to do it. And there's some that are really, really successful and may not want to collaborate, or may in some cases. And then we'll leave that 4th category open because I can't foresee everything, right? But we didn't want to wind up saddled with people who came in and told us as untenured faculty, hey, let's collaborate. Rob's slide about help, I have a phrase that I'm sure I stole from somebody smarter than me. Sometimes help isn't. And what I mean by that is just because, hey, I want to help you, well, sometimes getting helped is a lot like carrying someone, right? They're not helping me. And we didn't want the senior faculty to really take over the tone of the group, the direction of the group, the agenda of the group. So it was limited to untenured faculty. And then they say they're nice to me, and I believe they are, but they also kind of make me the doorman. So that now that I have tenure, when a tenured faculty member says, hey, you guys have got that scholarship group, I really want to join you, I have to be the one that says, oh, you have great ideas, and we'd really love to participate in those ideas. And we could certainly collaborate outside that group, but that group's really just for untenured faculty. But if you wanted to form a relationship with someone in that group on an individual basis, that'd be great. Let's go for it. And so it's the no but yes, right? And so that's, if it sounds like I've said that before, it's because I have, right? That's the message. It's not that we won't collaborate with others. It's that we don't want to be beholden to others during our weekly meeting and our weekly agenda. Is there any questions that arise out of that? Yes.
That's what I'm hearing.
So it seems that that would create a certain bias against collaborating with senior faculty, because as your cue sort of indicates, there's a lot going on within this group. So it's not like there's a lot of leftover time for other research collaborations.
We are not necessarily just collaborating with each other. Most of everything that I do at this point is done with professors from Golisano, computing sciences.
Right.
So if you look at that, just because someone says they're lead, that doesn't mean that there isn't someone tenured either within the department or someplace else who's working on that particular thing. It's just that within our meetings, and when we talk to each other, it is only untenured faculty. We do not preclude working with tenured faculty at all.
And meetings
So
are,
you don't preclude it formally, but what I'm suggesting is it seems to me that it would have the effect of tending to preclude it.
it could, if they had a better idea, we join them, right? So it's limited bandwidth, right? It's the same problem we all have, the 214% that we saw, right? There is limited bandwidth, but it's not that they're shut out, it's that this weekly meeting is not a working meeting. It's an overview of, hey, what's your status? This date's coming. Here's our next step. That paper that we're working on is due. It's not like it's a technical meeting on the project. So those technical meetings can happen whenever with whoever on whatever project. We're on the hot seat as untenured faculty. And so our future career depends very, very much on our scholarship. And so, of course, it's not the only thing, right? But we were brought here because we were good at teaching. We were brought here because they thought we'd be effective at service. You probably noticed as untenured faculty that the scholarship expectation, was ramping up, and it took the hockey stick move. And so it's a new paradigm that we're under. And I say we because at heart I'm still with you as an untenured faculty member.
So what you're doing is providing almost a tutorial to others to how they might could do the same thing, and they might need to make this same decision. Your recommendations are your groups should be untenured only. That may or may not work for someone else,
Right.
Given the foundation or the makeup of the departments they're in
Right.
and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So I just wanted to add that clarifying
Yeah.
point, just so that.
Yeah, there seems to be some misconception, because the membership in the group just means who meets together each week to talk about what we're doing. Those are only untenured. Who do we work with? Anybody.
And
Absolutely anybody. I sent him an email last week. I said, all right, put me down for these 2 grants. I'm working with these people in Golisano, this person in College of Liberal Arts, and I've got these 2 conference papers that I did with 2 students. That goes on that list. So then next week, if I can make the meeting, which I missed it yesterday, then I come in and I report where I am on those things. That's all it is. It doesn't mean that anyone's precluded from working with me.
Your results are very impressive, so it's sort of a 2-part question. How long have you been working together? And the other thing is, how do you sustain the group? A lot of times, groups that are sort of started this way have a hard time in maintaining themselves over time.
Right. So, if everybody heard the question, 1,
How long?
how long?
How long? And how do we keep going?
And how do we keep going? We've been together about 26 months. We started October, November of 2008. So it's about a little over 2 years. How we sustain it is we meet every week, and I think that is one part of it, but the real part of it is the people that are members or the people that are working at it see value. Because you're not going to go to something that gives you no value. But if it's, hey, this provides some value. This provides me learning and the ability to access and accelerate my scholarship and track it and see what's going on and work with others, that collegiate relationship, this is of value. I think that's our probably the biggest thing to help sustain it.
And sometimes we can't make the meetings. And Last quarter, they were on Fridays, I couldn't come. Right, so you come when you can, and there's really no pressure to be there. So it's your own internal drive to be there.
I wondered if you could talk a little bit about kind of the rules of engagement and how it is that, I thought that all of these questions are really helpful, but the one about how do you keep it going, even if people saw value, if they didn't get along and didn't trust the people sitting next to them, they probably wouldn't keep coming. So you've somehow worked out these rules of engagement or this level of trust that is a very healthy environment. So if you could talk to that a little bit, how did that develop?
Right, that's very important. Obviously, putting any group together, you need that level of trust, and how do you work together? And I'll let you guys comment.
Well, I mean, a couple of things. I think the first one of the main reasons is that's why we are on tenure. See, we are at the same level. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, while discussing and this create this relationship, it became part of a natural development within the group. I mean, we are now collaborating common courses, sharing presentations, so it becomes a natural flow of information that keeps now inside the group on a particular track in the scholarship, and also is expanding outside the particular focus of the group while collaborating in other things. So I don't think there is a clear statement that this is how we behave or how we interact.
Actually,
The
yes.
mission and the
Absolutely.
vision,
No,
correct,
there's
at the
ground rules.
beginning.
There's
So,
written ground
yeah.
rules. We'd be
Yeah, there
happy to
are.
give them to you.
There are.
There was a good long discussion. I think it may have spanned several meetings. And after that, Rob took what he had and wrote some up. I wrote some up. Rob and I emailed back and forth Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday we got in and we had some ground rules. I think we actually changed the name from Ufast to an acronym that could be used less charitably against us. It just didn't sound good. And so we went back and forth, and we had to stay on it while it was fresh in everybody's mind, because there were those same, we had enough trust to say, I don't want everybody on my paper. Just because I'm writing something doesn't mean you're entitled to it. Thank you, point well made. And we all nodded and smiled, right? We had that discussion, then we put it in writing. And now when new people come in, and so all those types of things, it's okay to say no, that you're not interested in having help or being helped, right? There's no obligation. It's an opportunity, not an obligation. UFAST is quite literally of the people, by the people, for the people. Our administration does not drive us to do it. They don't pressure us to do it. We're self-governing, and it makes it much more effective because then we're self-motivated. And literally, we would share those ground rules with anybody who wanted them. Obviously, the key to those ground rules, though, is the discussion that ensued before them to build that culture. And now when a new person comes in, they get those ground rules and they're told about this culture. But I've never really seen anybody step outside those rules, but I think if they did, about 7 heads would turn at them and make a face that's, what? What are you doing? You know, because it's a culture.
It's also the idea we are not in competition for tenure. We are working together, so we all succeed at tenure.
And that came through whenever Rob was talking about the achievements of the group, it was we. You know, we have 7 journal papers and we have this, and so, yeah. The key role that a tenured faculty plays in the group is very important.
Right.
That, you know, without Scott, it would be, he's serving a very vital role.
Right.
And if
At
we
this
didn't
point.
trust him, that would be an
That's
issue.
the trust is
Right.
the key.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
We
was
do
there
kick him
untenured.
out now and then.
I left the room just recently. They started having a question
Because he's on my
about
tenure
tenure
committee,
procedures,
so we kicked
right?
him
And I
out
said,
so
hey,
we
you want
could
me to
talk.
leave, right? And I left. I came back.
And that's been another benefit too, is that, you know, when I started with this group, I had already gone through mid-tenure review, and I'm in tenure review right now. So the experiences that I had, and I was on the scholarship committee for our college, so I knew how the guidelines were changing, you know, and as we have our different roles within the college, we can share those. It isn't just going to presentations, but it's also saying, hey, don't run afoul of this person, you know, when you're doing this kind of thing, make sure you talk to this office, I mean, you don't step on anybody's toes, and this is what you need to know for a mid-tenure review, and this is what's gonna happen when you go up for tenure. That's been invaluable, because
Right.
otherwise you're kind of floating out there alone.
Right, and we do share, as people are going through mid-tenure, hey, this is the review I got back, they liked the way I did this, do you want the format? Here's the way I put my evaluations in Excel, here's the charts I generated, here's the analysis I did, this was looked upon very favorably, here's my personal statement, here's, sharing and, having the resources of each other as they see to help each other, which helps you get a lot more confidence of, here's the binders I'm putting in and I know these are in pretty good shape, versus being in this vacuum of,
Yeah, and learning about the university itself, and how
Right.
things work, and,
Yes.
how you should do things, and.
Yeah, Rob said we share that documentation, but it's not a mandatory share.
No.
I haven't seen everybody's documentation. I think probably everybody saw the list of things that were asked of me when I went up for tenure, and if they didn't, Carol, I'm sorry, I might have skipped you. But the untenured people who were in the group, when I got that letter about here's the dossier of information, it doesn't cost me anything to make them a photocopy. It doesn't reveal anything. It's just a list of what they want, so that people can go, in year 2 or 3, be thinking about, I got to get ready for year 5.
yeah. I think for new faculty, when people start, we give them a few weeks to find their office and where the coffee is and that sort of thing. But then we'll invite them to the Ufast meeting, and I think the value it provides them is, okay, you're just starting. Here are some opportunities we're working on. Here's some things that, knowing what their interests are, there's going to be hopefully a synergy, being in the same department, that they can say, hey, I don't know how to write this grant together. Can I help? And you say, sure. But it gives them an ability to kind of get on board and accelerate, start moving along, so that they're walking into a comfortable group that's already working in this area. And it's not, in Scott's case, where, hey, you happen to find somebody to collaborate with. What if you don't? Then you're in trouble.
Yep. And you can't do things lone wolf, just doesn't work.
Right.
Just wanted to add that as a vision, probably if this grows, and there are several Ufast grows in different colleges, it will come more easy then to interact between groups and groups. So that's probably how it will spread. Small groups that keep it, manageable, but then within those groups, we can even interact and find common ground.
Yeah, we have met with other departments to get them started. So we'll be glad to help seed the pool.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I think that was so interesting, and we really appreciate that. Thank you.